So we got more antics from Draymond Green, another day, another Draymond Green controversy. Nothing new there, but I saw somebody say on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. I would love to give you your credit because it was a brilliant tweet. They said, eventually Dennis Rodman's antics outweighed his performance. And that kind of feels like where we've been at with Draymond for the last couple of years. It's funny because people always remember Dennis Rodman as a Chicago Bull, and they're like, he was, an epic part of that last three-peat, and he was for sure. But if you really go back and you really deep dive into the history of that final three-peat, that 96 season, he was great. He was fantastic. That 97 season, he started dropping off a little bit, and they even started bringing him off the bench a little bit. There's a reason that for the 97 playoffs, they went out and they signed Bison Dele because they didn't know that they could depend on Dennis Rodman to be the guy that he was the year before. And then that 98 season, he had a good little stretch when Pippen was out at the beginning of the regular season. The Last Dance did a really good job covering that. And then once Pippen came back and he took that Las Vegas excursion and everything like that, his performance dropped. Like there's a reason that when that season was over, MJ retired, Scottie Pippen got traded, a lot of guys got traded. Dennis Rodman didn't get traded. He got waived. Nobody wanted him in the league. He had no trade value at that point. For that 98 playoff run, Dennis Rodman came off the bench a lot of the time. I think he averaged like 26, maybe 28 minutes. He wasn't like a consistent starter. He wasn't that 36 minute per game, one of the main reasons the Bulls won kind of guy. And I think people kind of forget that. It gets lost in the history, gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. And then even at the end, man, he had that little run with the Lakers where he was still productive. He could still go get you 15 rebounds in his sleep, but he was such a fucking nuisance outside of everything. He refused to show up to team meetings. He refused to practice. He just basically wanted to come in, play the game, and leave. And then same thing with the Mavericks too. He was a disruption. So it's not that Dennis Rodman couldn't play at the end. It was that the antics started to outweigh the performance. And with Draymond Green, we've been at that point for a long time. I mean, I would say we crossed that Dennis Rodman threshold when he punched out Jordan Poole. As soon as you are knocking your teammates out like that, your antics have now surpassed your performance. And Draymond, he's still an okay defender. He's still a plus defender for sure. But the way that some of these people talk about him, it's clear that they just have bias. It's clear that they don't see that his performance on that side of the ball has dropped off a cliff the last couple of years. So he's not nearly the player he used to be, and he's still having those same antics. I mean, you can't go and get in a screaming match with your coach, with Steve Kerr, and then storm off. Like if you're gonna get in a screaming match, that's cool. We see that all the time. These are passionate players. It's a competitive game. The Warriors are not having the season they wanted to. I'm not mad at him for screaming at Steve Kerr like that, but you can't storm off and then refuse to come back to the game and leave your teammates out to dry like that. Like you're damn near 40 years old, man. You got to control your emotions better than that. So Draymond, man, he's definitely at that point where the antics have surpassed the performance. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Warriors do going forward, because they showed with Klay Thompson that, hey, man, just because you're a legend, just because you were here, just because you helped take us from the basement of the NBA to a dynasty, that doesn't mean that we're just going to keep you around and do whatever you want. So around trade deadline, I'm not sure that Draymond would have any actual trade value in the NBA. I don't know what team would want to bring that kind of personality into the building this late in the season, but I don't know. If things start getting a little interesting, they start getting a little spicy, maybe we see something happen with Draymond. Other things that happened in the league yesterday, that Mavericks versus Pelicans game, that was good basketball. That was an entertaining game. The Pelicans guys have won 5 games in a row. The Hawks, if they were smart, the Hawks would trade that Pelicans pick within the next week, because I don't think people have kind of realized yet that the Pelicans are turning this thing around. Granted, they're 8-22 now, I think, so they're still a long ways away from making the play-in tournament or even being anywhere near the play-in tournament, but I think they're going to. If Zion keeps playing like this, Derek Queen keeps playing like this, Trey Murphy's playing great, Herb Jones, Jordan Poole he's been all right. He's had some Jordan Poole moments still in their games. He had a bunch of them last night when they almost blew that lead. They were up like 8 with 45 seconds left, and then Poole had a couple of really bad plays, and the Mavericks got it within 3, but they got talent, and they know how to play, and James Borrego has them playing hard. So if I'm the Hawks, I'm trying to trade that pick, because right now the consensus around the NBA is, oh man, the Pelicans, that trade was so dumb. That pick is going to be top 3. They're going to miss out on Cam Boozer or AJ or, you know, Darren Peterson, any of those guys. And I'm telling you guys, I think the Pelicans are going to turn this thing around and make a play-in run, and that pick is going to fall somewhere between 13 and 16. And then maybe we could stop all the hand-wringing and stop acting like that was the worst trade of all time, because Derek Queen is good, guys. Anthony Davis had a hell of a game. He reminded people that he's Anthony Davis. He's still the top 15 to 20 player in the NBA. But Derek Queen was holding his own. Derek Queen was still getting buckets. So as a Bulls fan, man, every time I see Derek Queen out there playing and holding his own against really good players like Anthony Davis, I just cry a little bit inside because we took Noah Essingay, man. It's sad times around here.